Hey guys, Prep It Forward. Watched a little bit of the news. The tragedy that happened at Washington, D.C. Nothing short of a tragedy. Nobody really knows any of the details now. The last count I got was 13 died needlessly. I'm upset like most gun owners, but I wanted to do something a little bit different other than a rant video. Even though I'm upset, I started looking back, and today at work I went through some history and I wrote a little narrative, so I'll just read it and maybe it'll make a difference. I don't know. Here we go. In September of 1814, a young attorney named Francis Scott Key was asked to conduct a prisoner exchange. The American POWs were held on board a ship in Baltimore, just offshore of Fort McHenry. It was agreed that the negotiations would take place on the ship where Key could speak with his captive countrymen. As the talks progressed, it was finally set that it would be a one-for-one exchange. The date was agreed. Key informed the Americans of the agreement and began to make his final preparations. The final meeting with the British, Key was informed by the British they would go ahead and honor the agreement, but it really didn't matter because the war was about to be over. Key, caught off guard, asked what they meant. The British pointed to all the dots on the horizon. They said every available British warship was currently inbound, and their orders were to remove Fort McHenry from the map. Key told them the post was primarily civilian and had little military to defend it. The British reassured Key that, as they told him not to worry, because they were giving the Americans a way to avoid the destruction. They told Key that if Fort McHenry lowered their flag, threw it on the ground, and walked away from it, they would be spared annihilation. The symbol of your nation must be discarded, and the return of British rule reinstated was the only way to save the lives of everyone on Fort McHenry. Key told them that was not possible and went below decks to inform the American POWs. As Key told the men of the British plans to end the war, the men knew the price of liberty and knew it would be paid without hesitation, and at no point did they ever think their fellow countrymen would ever walk away from the price that liberty was asking. At the twilight's last gleaming, the British Armada positioned itself. Fort McHenry and all its people inside, the flag at full mast gallantly waving upon the rampart, in defiance of tyranny, remained. The British trained their guns on the single target, and the order to fire was given. All unholy hell was unleashed at each explosion from the cannon fire. After the first few volleys, spotters on the British ships reported the flag was still up. Key and the POWs watched as the British continued the assault. As the rockets glared and bombs burst, both the British and Americans were given proof that our flag was still there. The Americans at Fort McHenry did their best to return fire and defend their sovereign ground, but inflicted little damage upon the British, and most died at their posts fighting for liberty on their feet with a weapon in hand. Well into the night of 14 September 1814, the British lobbed round after round, yet the flag never moved. Impressed by the American resilience, the British complimented Key and the POWs, but stated if the fort would not lower the flag, the British guns would do it for them. All ships were ordered to take aim upon the rampart, fire at the flag itself. The corrections were made, and firing resumed. Boom, boom, boom. Each volley seemed more fierce than the last. The flag began to falter, and the British thought victory was at hand. As the guns were reloaded, the British witnessed the flag repositioning itself and returned to the full raised vertical position. Knowing there were unarmed Americans on the rampart attempting to hold up the flag, the British continued to rain fire and hell upon the target. Each time the flag began to topple, it was adjusted and fortified. All throughout the night, the battle raged. By the dawn's early light, all could see that our flag was still there. The mast was splintered and the fabric riddled with shrapnel holes, slightly slanting but still proudly waving over the American post. Key completed the prisoner exchange and agreed and returned to Fort McHenry with his men. He saw the atrocities of war, impact craters, fires, bodies of those who died at their posts being cleared. When he approached the rampart, he saw how they kept the flag up. As the British volley struck the rampart, patriotic Americans ran out to hold the mast in place. They gave their lives for the preservation of the nation. As more rounds hit, more people went out to take the place of those before them, all with one statement to the enemy: this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, and you can't kill that with a gun. What the British failed to realize is that every American would rather die on their feet with a weapon preserving freedom rather than live on bent knee serving the crown. This is called the American spirit, born 4 July 1776, honed in battle and honored by those who died to ensure that we have the opportunity to feel it at least once before our time is up. God bless the families of this tragic event, and God bless the USA.